Imagine belonging to the world's greatest Patreon.
The Bombadcast presents the one and only club, a Patreon experience.
Ran by the most Bombad hosts of all time.
Let's be honest here. You'd be the biggest poodoo ever.
That is Star Wars talk for a piece of shit.
If you didn't join this Patreon, I mean, you'd be an absolute dumb.
The one and only club, Patreon experience, is not sold in stores.
It's just 12 easy payments of $6.99 a month for the rest of your life.
But wait, use your card right now to sign up for it. Scotty and Jerry, that's me, will give you a shout out live on the air.
There will be 10 unique perks. 10 unique perks for you if you join this Patreon. And it's hosted by two of the greatest people that ever existed.
Scotty J-Ro?
And me, Jerry Cable.
Can't beat that. Broadcast to dozens of people.
How many of you have been dared to jump a ditch with no shoes on?
Why would you ask that?
Well, if you did it and you're still here, please join the Bombadcast Patreon.
Come on. What's he gonna spend it on? Food?
Being a part of the Bombadcast Patreon is not a bad idea at all. Simply because, well, you don't really have that many good ideas. You're kind of an idiot. You're watching this.
That's absolutely right. Live on air, satisfaction guaranteed.
I hope you enjoy it.
It's so dense. Every single image has so many things going on.
Remember, when joining this Patreon, make sure you
Stay Bombad.
stay Bombad.
Stay Bombad.
Harrison Ford!
Also, her mit Herzen von
Fuck off. Go Tigers, 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 go Tigers.
Do you have a tail, or is that your hair in the back?
あ、これは髪の毛と下に尻尾があります。
Hair and a tail. Wow. The best of both worlds.
あー、Thank you! 私の髪の毛と尻尾はとっても自慢の髪の毛と尻尾なんです。ありがとうございます。
Yeah, it really such a unique little character. It's mesmerizing. So anyway, I forgot the question.
Here's that rainy day they told me about, and I laughed at the thought.
新しい成績だ。
この惑星の子供たちと呼ばれる存在には
おはようございます。
超授業だりんや、そう。
全身でぶつかっていかなくてはならない。
もしよかったら付き合って。
声が小さい。
ただ
教師としてあるまじきそういう。
この惑星の教育は加減が難しい。
でも君はいい教師になる。
缶コーヒーのボス、レインボーマウンテン。
This stream is live during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, the content being covered here wouldn't exist. Stay Bombad.
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
Hey, I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. There's a blah blah. Hey, I don't know what is going on here. Anyway, welcome to the Bombadcast. Listen, hey, Scotty and Jerry, they're here, right? Okay, Scotty's running a little behind, but it'll be okay. Don't worry about it, baby birds. It's gonna be fine. But I'm gonna throw it right now to your host for the moment, Jerry the Kennedy. Oh, all right. Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice, Ed. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Welcome everyone to the Bombadcast. And yeah, we're here on another lovely Bombad Thursday. It's kind of been a while. We came back last week. We were on our summer vacation kind of thing, you know. It was a lot of fun. I hope all of you had a good Bombad vacation, and you're back and welcome to talk and ready to talk about some great films, some great stuff going on, and we have a really fun conversation for you tonight. Again, Scotty will be here. He's running a bit behind. I think he got held up by Paul. Paul is talking to him at their mailboxes. They have like the adjoined mailboxes, you know, right next to each other. And if Scotty does not get there exactly, but if you're there exactly like 9:01 p.m. Or 8:01 at their time, yeah, let's just say Scotty's probably going to be 45 minutes late. He's talking to Paul. But anyway, welcome. You've made it to the Bombadcast. It's a weekly Star Wars experience. We talk about just, you know, Star Wars and not just Star Wars. Actually, we talk about a lot of things here sometimes. Like, you know, as if tonight we are talking about the lovely film Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig. But yeah, every every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central, and every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday, my boy Scotty sits down. He'll play a game. He's been playing through Mass Effect recently with some friends of ours, and they are having just a grand old time. Go watch Scotty's intro. It's the more balls that you trip, the better the intro gets, frankly. But no, every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, we have a Patreon as well. And if you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead, go over there and join. And speaking of Patreon, I'm going to go ahead and give some shout outs to all of our patrons. Trevor, Richie Rasputin, Preston Dugas, Brian O'Buck, apparently. I don't know why I'm going backwards, but we're going to roll with it. Alden Diaz, David K2 Espro, Trey Mitchell, Wesley Woolridge, Chase Hauser, Neil Lowry, Todd DeGrossier, Frank Fennessy? I don't know what the fuck is going on with me tonight, guys. Anyway, Brian Fennessy, M from Pink Milk, Michael McBoy, Brian Fry, Jeff Qualio, Jared the Dark Jedi, Seth Parnell, Sean Room, Rick Villanueva, Joel Organa. Oh man, you might be seeing a little more of that kin tonight. Just saying. Brandon Schrader, Andy H, Will Beatty, Scotty Holiday. This could be you. This could be you. This could be you. The Dr. Seuss ending of that one there. Listen, guys. You stay bombad. It's me. It's Jerry and Scotty. We got a little bit of thirst trap action going on here. But you know what? I've been rambling it's almost been 10 minutes and I haven't brought any of the guests on screen. So, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring on the first couple of our guests. We have John and Megean here with us tonight. And you are very familiar with John. And this is Megan's actually first Bombadcast. And so Megean, welcome to the Bombadcast. And thank you guys for coming here to talk about this. And, you know, I think most people know you guys are indie filmmakers, correct?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you probably have some expertise in the subject of movies then, don't you?
I would say I have zero expertise in anything, but I have thoughts and opinions. But yeah, I'm happy to be back on Bombadcast, and you know, it's been a minute, but
It's been too long.
This is my second home. Thank you, Jerry.
Well, thank you for coming, and Megan, thank you for bringing this and everything, because again, it is the first Bombadcast is always an experience and everything.
It is,
because it's off the wall. We've got the crazy intro and everything like that. But no, welcome. You're officially a part of the Bombad fam now, and so welcome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I think that was your first time seeing the intro all the way through, huh?
Yeah, it was. I was like paying attention to the branding, and I was like, oh, this is very sellable. And then I was thinking about all the marketing that could be, because I do, in terms of the film industry, I do producing, film marketing, and a bunch of other stuff.
And acting.
And acting. I act a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like
but yeah.
The triple threat then here. Did I count that right? So probably more than triple threat. I'm just saying, So
I do a lot of stuff behind and in front of the camera. It just depends on the day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there you go. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Well, I'm very glad that we finally got you on. It took us long enough. And it's good to have John back.
I'm really happy to be here because I'm obsessed with Star Wars, and I keep going, bring me on to talk about Star Wars, but I'm talking about Barbie today. It's fine.
We're talking about, well, if you watch the show, you know that we don't talk about Star Wars.
I was about to say, you guys don't really like Star Wars that much, huh?
We don't ever talk about Star Wars. Is there a show coming out? Who knows? We don't give a shit. No, it's great. We're really excited. Honestly, I think things are at a fever pitch for Ahsoka. But you know what? Listen, I actually have a real life actual Ken waiting in the wings actually right now.
Wow.
And I don't know if we should keep him back there any longer, because I just his only job is camera. So we want to make sure that he's in here and doing his job, right? Like, because we want him to feel like he's doing something. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring in our resident Ken, the Mr. Joe Organa. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
How are you, Ken?
Hi, Ken.
I'm doing so good. I'm so excited to be here. I'm also, much like Megan, I'm a triple threat. Not only am I good at camera, but I'm also good at beach. So there you go. 3 threats right there.
Just beach?
Just beach and camera. So that's triple threading right there.
I was thinking John's is computer.
Mm-hmm. I'm computer and
computer 10. You're computer 10.
Kind of camera.
I love that.
But not really.
We all have our specialties.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have your specialty, then you're just stereotypical Ken. And there's nothing wrong with that. You are Knuff.
No, you're the arm candy. That's what I aspire to be in my life someday, is someone's arm candy.
Megan is everything.
Yes. That's right.
You're just Ken.
I just film.
You're filmmaker Barbie.
I'm filmmaker Barbie.
I love that.
Hello.
Very nice.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Yes. So this little film came out. So you have what became a phenomenon in just the double release on the same day and we're not talking Oppenheimer tonight. I'm not going to take up a ton of time talking Oppenheimer, because I think I'm the only one here who's actually seen it, and I we want to get to the main attraction. But the Barbenheimer meme was something that was absolutely wild. And I think that, I don't know if that's what drove people to the theater. For me, like the moment I saw, like before even Barbenheimer was a thing, the trailer, the first trailer for Barbie, immediately it kicks in your door and it says, this is nothing what you expect, right? Like we were already kind of excited because we'd seen the pictures of like the neon like Ken, or we'd seen Margot and them in their like fluorescent spandex and everything, like out on the pier. What is it? It's Santa Monica where they were. And I mean, everyone was already excited from that. and you get that first trailer that's like the what is it, the first trailer was the beginning of the movie, if I believe, right, where it's the little girls playing with the baby dolls.
Yeah, it was the reenactment of 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which fucking brilliant. Just way to open it up and everything like that. I love that they kept that whole, it felt like that could be something that they were just doing for a promotional trailer, like here's the beginning, here's kind of the thesis, and no, you get to the movie, that is how this thing starts. And that was just absolutely fantastic. But anyway, before we go on here, let's go ahead and say, so we've all seen Barbie. How many times? Like I've actually only seen it once. I want to get back to see it again and everything. Have we all seen it once? I think
or two. Me and Megan.
I'm going again tomorrow.
Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. I'm gonna go again tomorrow. I'm bringing my mom and grandma to go see the movie. Oh,
that's so awesome.
Yeah, because it's funny because my mom used to say this thing growing up where she would get mad at like one of my stepdads and be like, "Oh, it's like you brought patriarchy into my Barbie dream house." And then I watched the movie and I went, "Oh my gosh, that's the literal plot of the movie. I have to make you watch this movie." So
that is fantastic. That's so sweet. That's gonna be my family lives in Arkansas. I'm currently in Michigan. My mom and my sister were up. And I thought about, but they were here for such a short time. We had a little vacation house in Muskegon and my 6-year-old. And it was like, we had basically one day to do anything. And I'm like, we'll just go to the beach right now.
Got a beach.
Yeah. We got a beach up here. I know we're staying at a vacation house. You want to go to the beach. But like, yeah, it's like just to be able to share that with the people that you're close to. And I mean, the women that you're close to, especially too, is just such a special experience, I would imagine.
It's really interesting because we saw the first Barbie. We came from a film set where we were like shooting. It's like a neo-noir vampire film that we co-wrote and co-directed together. And like it has like cool cars. It looks a lot like Baby Driver, neon lights. My character is like setting a guy on fire. It's this crazy scene. And then we went from that. Yeah. And we had the producer and the assistant director, who are both women, wanted to go see the movie. And we were like, I was like, I have to see the movie with them. Like I have to experience it with these people. And at the very beginning of the film, me and the producer were talking today. Her name is Baben Victoria. And we have a podcast together called Foxy Film, where we talk about filmmaking. And the first moment where she's like, President Barbie, and she's like, "You're really good at that." And then she's like, "I know." And she goes, "You're really good at that." Me and Baben started bawling immediately. Like I looked over at her and I just started crying. And she started crying. We were all crying, like right at the very beginning of the film.
Oh man. That's so awesome. Yeah, it's I don't know, like this was something that this movie is just, it kind of harkens to me back to the days of like the old musicals, like back in the, at least with the set design and everything. It felt very like one of those who am I thinking of here? Like one of those, like something with like White Christmas or something with like Bing Crosby, and then where they cut to like a set and do a dance number for a minute. This like really had a lot of that kind of feel to me throughout the whole movie, and so I kind of dig. I used to be in a lot of musicals back in high school and college a little bit, and I love musicals and everything.
Me too.
And so just again, there was a musical episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds that just came out today that I was absolutely in love with, but just like to have that kind of like old school feel was very kind of cool. And I really kind of dug that. But so what were your initial? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, why you feel that is because Greta Gerwig had a rule on set that was like, all of the design, all the rules of the world was nothing before 1958. And so all of the backgrounds, the Barbie dream house, everything is practical. All of the houses are painted. They use like animatronics to like make things move. So that feel that you feel of like
Even the hand drawn VFX, like the little, hand drawn things.
yeah, none of that was digital, and it was on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, that was the second time that we went and saw it. The first time was just like reacting to it, and the second time I was really paying attention to the filmmaking behind it because I knew what the story was, and so I got to look at the sets and the acting choices and the directing choices, and then just like really appreciated the sets. And I was even paying attention. I was like, oh, they reused this set for this. They only had
Wow,
13 full sets, and they reused them all really smart. But they like completely built. And I remember just whispering to her in the middle, like, that is a fully practical set, and like everything that we're seeing is like completely practical, and it was crazy.
Yeah. That's just a lot of care put into it, and you are correct, Megan, about that. Like that, I now that I think about it, that it did have that 1950s flavor, and that was very, very, very cool. Joe, what was your reaction initially coming out of the theater, first viewing?
Well, I mean, I was so in love with it. I was coming out of the theater. I was so in love with it. I went into it not really knowing what was going to happen, because the initial thought before seeing even the trailers was like, oh, this is probably going to be a comedy. We have this like incredible cast of actors who are all incredible. Like when the cast list went out, it's like, oh my God, what a stacked cast, you know what I mean?
Right.
But you had Will Ferrell there, and from what I was thinking, he was going to be the bad guy of the film, which, didn't really end up coming through. And so I thought, oh, this is going to be like a very funny, lighthearted thing. I thought like, oh, it's Mattel. They're going to keep it sort of aimed towards children, but maybe it'll be like fun for adults. And when I came out of it, it was like completely not that, which I loved. It I think that's why a lot of audiences are really connecting with it, is because it really takes you to a place you didn't think it was going to go. It's actually it is a very funny movie, but it's also such an important and serious movie. And you watch Barbie and Ken, both of them actually go through like such a self-discovery. Like you see them, they're basically these two people who have never existed in our world. You see them come into it like so innocent and knowing everything one way, and then seeing how our world would affect those types of people who don't have the biases that we have, and it was so interesting and such a mature topic, and really like such a beautiful way to tell it. It was really mind-blowing, honestly, that was the Barbie movie.
Yeah, it was incredible to me going, because like I thought it was going to be, it was very funny, but I thought it was going to be more straight comedy throughout and everything, and there was a lot of and again, if you've watched the show, Scotty and I both are very emotional people and everything like that, but like I was tearing up in this movie midway through and everything like that, and again, like I have my daughter and everything that I'm really wanting a better world for her to grow up in and everything like that, and everything they're talking about are things I'm like, I want for her, kind of things, like that. Of course, we want for everyone, but also just at the end of everything, I found, like at the end of the film, I found myself just like, it's a film that makes you love life and makes you want to, it's one of those movies that like makes me like excited, like I'm so glad that I'm alive right now. And I want to go out. I want to live my life. I want to go and do that kind of stuff. And I didn't expect to really get that much of a boost from that angle on this. And so that was very refreshing and things like, so, but yeah, no, so obviously this movie is a big just bastion for female empowerment and things like that. It's a huge it's female driven. It's all about all kinds of stuff with it. Now I've already heard people talk about how it's opened their eye, like I've heard of a few guys say like it's opened their eyes to kind of like things, which is, again, you don't expect the Barbie movie to necessarily do that, but I just, I guess I'll throw it to Megan, because again, the rest of us are male, but like what exactly, how important is this in respects to kind of the strides that people have taken in this respect in film? Like, is this one of the most important, or the most, or like, what's your feeling on it?
Okay, let me gather my thoughts as woman.
You're good.
Hold on. Okay, so I think there's a few things. One is that, you know, most films tell the hero's journey, right? So, like, the hero's journey is like, you know, he's a scrappy, like Star Wars, he's a scrappy young kid. He's met with a great adversary, and that adversary is a person, and that person stands for something. And then he fails and gets back up and handles all the trials and defeats the bad guy, and then he is changed because of it. There's this thought in feminist theory that came out, I think, in the 90s, which is the heroine's journey, which we don't see often. And the heroine's journey is written that the heroine starts off being a fully formed being. She's introduced to a societal concept, or a kind of a loose concept. And the adversary in the story, the antagonist, is not a person, it's an idea. Her world gets pulled apart. She learns something not about herself, but about the world. And then it comes back in the end. And what's interesting to me is Luke, at the very beginning, not to go back to Star Wars, does a little bit of the heroine's journey. Inadvertently, which I always found fascinating. And Greta Gerwig does a lot of that in like most of her films, and so I feel like that's what makes her such a good writer, and that she's very much writing for herself. But then also, it's like, this is a film, like, many women don't get the option to have a big blockbuster film that has the advertising budget that they have. Generally, female filmmakers, you get one big budget film at 500 million to 50 million, and then you get completely locked out of Hollywood in your second film. And you can see that documentary about it on Netflix, about like the things female filmmakers have to deal with. I think the reason why Barbie is so frustrating is because it's not a conflict with a male-oriented film like that makes a Barbie movie.
Right.
Oppenheimer. And so that's why I think Barbie movie is so good, is because she chose a box that no one else wanted to touch, and then was able to explore them and create such a great, fantastic film that said so much. And because it was Barbie, she was able to like fully advertise it in the way that men did.
Yeah.
Backsplash.
I think we might be getting are we getting a little bit of that right there? Just a little bit. Okay.
Is it me?
Yes. I would say, yeah. God damn it, John.
I can just mute myself until I want to talk.
Megan's trying to make a point here.
I know, it's killing me. Oh wait, can I? Yes. Anyways, so advertisement budget for Barbie was so much more than any other advertisement for like any other female film director, and because she was able to do that, she was able to create a blockbuster in a way that men get, in the way that like Christopher Nolan gets on any given day. And because of that, and also because Margot Robbie is a brilliant producer, because of that, it was incredibly groundbreaking. It is a good movie, but the advertising of the movie was the thing that sold the movie, because at the end of the day, the film was a product. And so I think for me, there are two things where it is groundbreaking in the film industry. It was, you know, made a ridiculous amount of money. You know, obviously we'll probably see a bunch of spin-offs and all that. Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie are both fantastic producers and directors. I loved seeing the heroine's journey, unlike I like seeing Luke in Star Wars, you know, recreate the heroine's journey. But for me, what I personally found groundbreaking was the nuanced conversation of men in the context of feminism, in a way that wasn't necessarily aggressive or like because like sometimes I get and I'm sure a lot of women,
Justifiably.
we all
Yeah.
do, but and it's easy to do that in film because film is like a happy place where we get to say exactly what we want to say. I felt like in that film she was able to swing the pendulum a little more because she had such a happy box. She had such a
Yeah.
beautiful box, and she was able to talk about male fragility and men's relationships with each other and speak in a very clear, beautiful, nuanced way. And Ken's story was actually my favorite story in the film. And actually,
Right.
I'm curious, what did you all feel like? What did you individually take away from the Barbie movie? I'm like really curious about this.
Let's go ahead and I want to go ahead and have John start with this. Then we'll go to Joe. And if I've kind of said a little bit, it made me want to live life.
Yeah.
John, what were your what did Barbie make you feel?
Yeah, sure. Megan, do you know how to mute? Press M, just so he doesn't. Okay, sorry, we're in the same room. Yeah, I mean,
way to mansplain that, man,
I
John.
know.
Come on.
Here, let me show you.
I didn't know how to mute, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, to echo what Megan said, I really enjoyed it. Like she was saying, I mean, you don't get to see a lot of the heroine's journey, and I thought overall the film was it did two really impressive things, and that was one, it made a lot of money and was super commercially successful, and also was deeply meaningful and super well made. And it's really hard to have both of those things for a lot of different reasons. And it's not just that the movie was so good that it did really well. It was like Megan was saying, to get a huge marketing budget behind your movie is really hard to do, especially for a woman. And even men struggle with like you'll make a really good movie, but there's a really good chance that you won't get a huge marketing budget behind it, or like just from speaking from experience, we on the documentary that I produced a couple years back, we sold it to a small time distributor, and it was considered like one of their most successful documentaries, but they literally didn't promote it whatsoever. The image they put on Amazon was like a grainy, blurry, half-baked image, and it was like just pulling teeth to get all these things. It's like, we don't even need you to promote it, just like put the right information on there. And they copied our information from the email but left in like stuff from the email in the description. And this was a movie that was like, the documentary made like a decent bit of money, and so it was just like create this crazy thought. And so like the fact that this movie, one, was able to get that huge marketing push behind it, and then two, to follow up on it and actually be really well done and really impactful. And I agree with Megan that like, I think Ken's storyline is probably the most important in the movie, because as a guy watching it, like, I think a lot of women will identify with the stories, but a lot of men will watch this with their girlfriends and sometimes walk in thinking it's a very man-hating movie, or like expecting that, okay, this is going to be a movie where the men are the butt of the joke and it's going to be talking about women's issues and stuff like that. But like, I actually really deeply felt like Ken's storyline was very sympathetic to the men's journey, and especially like towards understanding what women go through and how that relationship like affects what men go through as well. And so like, I understand, why that is, why people might go into it being like, oh, this is a movie by a feminist director, it's all women, it's pink everything, and it's going to just be like, and then people who watch it would be super surprised. And I think that the people who are generally probably pretty against going to see it are probably the ones who need to see it the most, especially for the guys,
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I mean, it really shows like how it shows Ken, who ultimately kind of starts to become the villain. And if it was truly like an anti-male movie, they would have just left Ken as the villain. At the very end, they would have just had him come in, destroy Barbie Land, Barbies win. That's it.
Yeah.
But the fact that they really took the time to like show how deeply like what Ken's situation and learning about the patriarchy and how he brought it and how it basically fundamentally like destroyed this, you know, perfect world that they had, and how it like stifled everything. It, you know, affected his mental health. It, you know, stifles, like, it basically talking about all the different problems that the patriarchy brings to men and like their mental health, and trying to like sustain this like idea of, oh, you can only be this like you said in the chat, like you can only like horses and be this rugged guy.
I was gonna say,
you can't
yeah.
cry, you can't do all of these things. And it shows that, like, and it's sympathetic to that struggle, I feel like, which is super surprising, and it really caught me off guard, I think. And I told Megan at the end, I was like, I think this might have been like Ryan Gosling's most important role he's ever played in terms of like, you know, changing society, which is very strange because he's playing Ken in the Barbie movie.
Yeah, it's off the wall a little bit, but yeah, honestly, that I think you might be right there, because it's, again, I did expect also Ken to kind of, oh, Ken's the bad guy now, kind of a thing, and we did kind of go in a way where it was, you know, like the whole Ken and Barbie don't even end up together, but it's the whole, you know, accepting yourself kind of a thing, you know, which you get, like, you know, the journey that most of us are kind of on, that we're trying, that we need to do, that most people, again, who need to see this movie need to do. And yeah, no, absolutely. Joe, did anything about this like change anything? And like we have the straight male perspective here. We get like the bisexual male perspective on kind of how did this affect you? Did it affect you profoundly?
Did it affect me profoundly? I think it did in a lot of ways. I mean, I am, you know, a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, but I'm still a man, and I think I did get to learn a lot, especially from Barbie's journey. I think I've spent so much time on social media as like kind of a content creator, and I've had a lot of fights with a lot of conservatives over the years, and so I've had sort of my experience with toxic masculinity. So I totally got Ken's journey. I've been inspecting and dissecting his journey for many years before the movie, you know what I mean? But I think the thing that was really interesting to me was sort of how multi-layered Barbie's journey was, which I think is flying under the radar for a lot of viewers, because I think it's the sort of thing that you need to watch it a couple times to sort of catch all these little things that Greta Gerwig was able to like fit in subtly to Barbie's journey. Like in the beginning, the Barbies believe that they fixed the world, the real world. They fixed like toxic masculinity. They brought equality to the genders. That, you know, they helped, you know, bring women to the same level as men in our society. And when Barbie goes to the real world to try and figure out what's going on with her, she finds out that that's not true. And she meets America Ferrera's character, who is a mom who is trying to do everything right. She's trying to have a job. She's trying to raise her daughter, who is rejecting her because of her age. And that speaks to Barbie's journey as well, because Barbie feels like she needs to fix the whole world herself as a woman. She needs to fix this world. And she, even throughout the whole movie, she wasn't able to do that. She goes to Mattel, and the whole company is run by men. That's never fixed. That's never resolved. But Barbie ends up, in the end, spoiler alert, she becomes a human herself, and she's just trying to make her way and in this misogynistic world that we all live in, right? She wasn't able to fix the world, but she still is a woman, and she's still gonna, you know, go on her journey as a human, which is so interesting to me. Like, I don't necessarily want a second movie because I love the first one so much, but I think it would be so nice to see how her journey into humanity would be in dealing with the misogyny that she didn't have to deal with in Barbie Land. It was very interesting to me.
Yeah. So yes, Megan.
I'm just gonna start raising my hand. You know, it's actually really funny because, you know, I did love Barbie's journey. You know, I'm a woman in film. All of film, I think it's only like 20% is filled with women at this point, and I'm a female director and a producer, which is actually pretty rare. And so the level of misogyny I deal with, like I've been assaulted on set. People call me mommy sometimes. I've had PAs just be like, I'd be like, hey, can you do something? And they look at me and just go, no. And I've had to I've had to fire full grown men who are like twice my size in the middle of the night. The level of things that I've had to do is pretty insane. And it's interesting in that like all of the people I went to go see it were filmmakers. The people who really got it were the women, and who really got exactly what you're talking about, because there's a sense that we can't just make a movie, we have to fix the industry. And so at the end of the movie, we sat there watching the credits go by, and my AD Maria Moreno was like, God damn it. Sorry for swearing. I was like,
hey, fuck yeah, go ahead. You're good. You're good.
Okay. And I was like, what? And she goes, the entire crew is men, Megan. And I was like, what? And I looked at the screen. I was like, what the? I was like, you know, Greta Gerwig, you're making a feminist film. Your entire crew is men. You can't hire like one or two women in power positions. And so, you know, the same journey that she goes on in the film, we go on every single day because of the industry we're in, because it is a show to put on the show behind the scenes. Very much you have to be the best. And I told John, like, we just did a film last weekend where I was in front of the camera, I was producing, and I was co-directing, you know, and I'm playing a lead character. So I was waking up in the morning and making pancakes for people. And like, you know, I took an actor to the hospital and then went directly to set and did a whole scene. My producer was in a previous show, and she was doing acrobatics hung from like this huge line in the middle of a shipyard. And she was like telling me a story of how she was like up on the wire, like I think like 20 feet up, texting people, trying to produce and get them vegan burritos onto set, you know. And that was, it was weird. I had this whole conversation with John right before we saw the movie, where I told him, I was like, you don't realize how exhausted I am. I have to be better than every single person in the room. I have to be nicer. I can't speak too sharply with anybody. If I speak too sharply, I have to talk to them afterwards. And on top of that, I'm acting, so I better be good in front of the camera every single shot. And I was like, and all you have to do is show up. You're working and you're doing a great job, and I respect you, but at the same time, it's like way different. And then we saw the movie, and then she gave that exact speech, which I was like, this is so funny. And I look over at John, and he's like crying during the speech. I was like, now you get it.
Yeah.
But I think that that's a stellar point, in that Barbie feels the need that, you know, she can't just like, you know, fix herself. There is a need that like she has to fix Barbie land, and she feels like she's failing every 5 minutes. And that is only like a speck of like what it is to be a woman, but does speak very clearly to like what it is to be a woman in the film industry, you know?
Yeah.
I'm done.
No, thank you. No, I'm really valuing your perspective here, because again, it is like 100%. It is that exact speech, like you're saying, it is in the film, and it can. I think it can be a shock for the system of some men to kind of hear that kind of thing. You go, look, not like you haven't heard that before, right? But to just like have it again reflected from that mirror of cinema back at you. There's some kind of the power that cinema has to kind of get a point across that might fall on deaf ears most of the time, but just you put it in something that just has so much heart that, I mean, you make people feel something. It's necessary, you know. And I wish that we didn't have to have the Barbie movie. I wish it could be like that just normally, but at the same time, I'm very glad that it exists now that we have this out there that we can, you know, just kind of point to and go like, listen, you need to, I'm hoping it opens more people's eyes to kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know.
It is interesting in that I think everyone knows how hard it is to be a woman. We've said it enough, you know, so like I don't think anyone's surprised about how difficult, like, you know, but I do think that like the nuance thing that the Barbie movie got so well is a conversation I have often on film sets, which is that men really only listen to other men because they're so used to only listening to other men with authority. If you notice Ken, all of his scenes, like he wasn't listening to a single thing Barbie said. Barbie didn't even like him, you know, like most of the film. But he was listening to the other Ken, and he was competing so much with the other Ken that was his whole journey, you know, was realizing, oh, I don't have to compete with this person. I could listen to this person that's right in front of me. And that shows up pretty intensely on film sets. Like, you know, it'll happen in meetings where I'll be like, oh, I have this idea. And then, you know, that's where mansplaining kind of comes from. And that John will repeat an idea I have, and everybody will be like, oh, and I'd be like, yeah, I just said it. You know, and I think in some ways that's what makes the Barbie movie palatable, in that you see this amazing actor who, you know, Ryan Gosling, who we've seen time and time again and has played a range of roles. You know, men like him, women like him, you know, he has been a bad guy, a good guy, whatever. And he, in some ways in Hollywood, is considered an ideal man. And then you get to see him perform basically a feminist conversation. And I think that's why a lot of men are watching and listening to the Barbie movie, is because if it was just about Barbie, then I don't know if a lot of men would be listening to the same conversation, you know? And now I'm done.
Yeah. That's very well spoken. Yeah, that's a great point, you know. And I mean, I don't think the whole thing just with Ken and the journey of that, like it's like that was something, and we've said it a million times over and over again here. It's something where I am in life currently, in my current life situation and everything. Recently divorced, kind of things like that. I'm trying to find myself again, you know, after all those years of marriage, kinds of things like that. To have a movie like this that kind of portrays this, like you don't have to impress anyone. You gotta just treat everyone with respect, kind of a thing. You know, it's as simple as that. But just even like the I am Knuff, which we were talking about, the sweatshirt and everything, that looks like the most comfy thing. Like it looks like it's made of cotton candy. It looks just so goddamn comfortable. But that I am Knuff, but just the you have the joke, but it's just like that kind of mission statement almost, you know, emblazoned on the sweatshirt. And that's just, I don't know, it's just kind of it's a very cool movie about life and about finding yourself. I mean, mainly about, you know, again, kind of what women deal with every damn day, which is like it's insane. It is insane. And again, like you said, Megan, like everyone knows that and everything. Everyone knows it. I don't know if like everyone quite understands it. But again, things like this kind of, I think, help. They're like stepping stones to enable, like leading us to kind of like, you know, understand each other a little better, hopefully in the long run, is what, you know, I hope we get to. Let's see here. So listen, Scotty is almost here. He says, I don't know when he's going to pop in, but I'm just saying he might pop in at any moment. So just prepare, get ready.
Be ready.
Be ready. So, well, let's see. I want to, Joe. I want to ask you. So, what did this movie do? You think in terms of queer coding and representation? Do you think there was a lot of good instances of that, or like what were your thoughts on that?
Well, there was. I mean, I think there was some silly like headline. I think before the movie came out about this being like very queer coded. I wish I remembered the quote now, but it was like sort of a a clickbait sort of thing. And when you go in, there's nothing overtly queer about the movie, right? But if as a a queer person, I think you go into this movie seeing the Barbie movie and you're going to be able to pick out every queer moment. We have I mean, the whole Ken situation, it goes hand in hand with toxic masculinity. There are two sides of the same coin, gay culture and toxic masculinity. Just men, it's boys night every night or at the Mojo Dojo Casa house, right? So that was like just horses on the screen, men dressed up like cowboys. We're gonna be happy. We're gonna have a great time. But I think the most important piece of queer representation in the movie was Harry Neff having such a prominent role as a Barbie, and her being a trans actress and really putting that out there in such a major and visible way. And that I thought that was so great. That little queer kids will have that to look to in the future, be like, oh, this incredible actress is like me, and look, she's Barbie too, and I can be Barbie, even if my parents say I'm a little boy, but I feel like I'm a little girl, I can. And Barbie is such an important just in general outside the movie is such an important toy for a lot of young gay men and young trans women and non-binary people in general, because a lot of the times that's a toy that is so ultra feminine, and people and queer kids like me, even as a kid, I wanted to play with Barbies, but I couldn't. And it just sort of felt like something your whole childhood for, however many years kids play with toys, you were looking to that like, God, I really wish I could have a Barbie, but I know I would be ostracized. I know I would be judged. I know I could be, in the more extreme cases, my parents would disown me. And so I think that Barbie is something a lot of queer people looked to, especially gay men like myself, looked to as like they really coveted it because it was just like a symbol of their queerness that they had to hide. And I know a lot of gay men older, that friends of mine, will now buy Barbies for themselves because they saw that as a kid. They wanted it, they couldn't ask for it, they couldn't have it, or they did ask for it and it didn't go well. And now they can have that. So the Barbie movie, I think that's why it clicked with a lot of gay men, obviously, and it was so important to a lot of us. And it's just such a symbol for the queer community in general.
Yeah, that's wow. Just that's absolutely beautiful. I love that. And it's just going into this again, like you knew we were going to get a very feminist movie, right? We knew we were going to get that kind of thing, but just to like have so much, this movie truly does speak, I think, to every single person. When you had the trailer up before it came out that said, if you love Barbie, this movie's for you. If you hate Barbie, this movie's for you. And it just kind of, when Megan, you were talking about the marketing earlier, I don't think I've seen something marketed this well in a long time. And I mean, obviously a movie, directed by a woman for sure. But just, I feel like this is just, the marketing team on this was absolutely, they were bonkers good with every move that they made. They were playing 3D chess before this thing came out, and it just,
I think I heard like was it Nick's girlfriend, Megan Ari, that was telling us about how Warner Brothers, for the marketing, they had a system where you could essentially go and buy the Barbie brand to put on your thing for like a very nominal fee, because it was like a win-win. And so like that's why so many things were like, Barbie pillowcase, Barbie soup at our restaurant, Barbie, like themed. So that's why like all of a sudden there was just like Barbie everything is because the marketing team like knew that it was such an iconic brand that other brands could kind of tap into. And so it was like all they had to do was pay like a really small fee. And that's why even some of these smaller companies were taking advantage of the branding, because it was just a win-win. It was like Barbie everywhere and everybody got to benefit from it, which is honestly pretty smart.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know, like there were so many times I would go everyone had a commercial with Barbie in it for a little bit there. Like I saw was a Progressive commercial that they were playing at the movie theater before everything came out, like all kinds of little things just here and there. You're right. And it's again very recognizable branding and things like that, and it's just we're a capitalist society and we love branding and things like that, so it's great.
And it's such an iconic brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think also like Margot Robbie's production company does a really good job at this. She did it with I, Tonya as well, where
right.
I, Tonya, like they did a whole documentary that came out. They really marketed the heck out of it and retold Tonya Harding's story. They did all these interviews with Tonya Harding, and like a lot of people didn't even necessarily like pay attention to the movie until it came out, and then it was a really brilliant movie. She's just a really smart businesswoman, and you see this with like every movie that's done under her particular production company. Is she has an entire marketing team that focuses on user generated content, on what TikToks look like, on what memes they can make, and they never forget that a film is a product first. I hate to say it's like art. It's beautiful. I love film, but it is a product. And a lot of filmmakers do not know they know how to make the movie and they don't know how to distribute it as a product. And it's something that Star Wars does a really great job of, is they introduce you to the world in such a clear way where like, if I see a particular green color, I'm like, oh, that's very Star Wars. If I'm like driving around and I see, a building, I'm like, oh, that's such a Star Wars building. And me and John will do it all the time. We literally do it all the time. I'm like, oh, it's so Star Warsy. And I was paying attention to the world building that Barbie did. It was so quintessential Star Wars, hilariously enough. It was so clear in that they were like, we are selling a world. This world is not just this woman, it's not just this idea. It's like this color and this bag and, this sweater and all these other things. And so I think that they knew that they were world building a lot more than they were just going, hey, we're selling Barbie. They were like, this is the world of Barbie,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And talking about the world building and everything like that too, I love how they just rolled with the silliness of the concept of going to the real world and things like that. It's like it's almost like we're just transitioning from like these little plywood sets into the real world and everything like that. I loved the whimsicalness of that, of just kind of like, we're not going to do anything, like we're not going to get super crazy 1980s scientific about how this is another dimension or something. It's literally just imagination and everything like that, and you immediately go along with it. But it was just the world, especially the Barbie world, was so rich and just so full of color. You have like the Barbie, the town that's like in the heart, right? And then the desert surrounding it and all of that, which was interesting and all that. It's just, very, very vibrant, very cool. I loved that sometimes the pool was, I didn't expect like everything to actually be plastic. Like when she walks across the pool, I'm like, this is fucking great.
When he hits the waves on the surfboard at the beginning.
And
he just bounces off the waves. That's amazing. I mean, it's such a good lesson for filmmakers too, because it's like, if you don't need a huge budget or a huge anything, as long as you're confident in your vision and like very clear in your world, people will go along with anything that you give them. And this movie just makes it clear that's like, they could have done that, on the volume with an insane CGI, they're in space and all these things. But instead they chose a really stylized, much cheaper approach that you're totally cool with. And that just goes to show you that, like, and Star Wars does that all the time. You know, not in that style, but like, you know, there's some effects in older Star Wars movies, even some of the newer stuff that isn't quite believable, but you're like, I'm here for this. This is goofy and I'm going along with it, you know?
Yeah. Well, like Megan was saying earlier, like you see like a building or like I knew exactly what you were talking about, by the way, when you said the color green, the certain color green.
It's like a very specific green.
It's a very like
Mhm.
yeah, like a very like not quite lime, but also like very like glowy green. I don't anyway, yeah, no, I knew exactly what you're talking about. Like it's instantly recognizable and things like that. Like there's times I'm standing outside, like I'll go on a hike and I'm like, this is very Star Wars out here, which that's just nature, but it's still like it's like that much in our brains, you know, kind of a thing. And yeah, I think that they did a very good job in Barbie of just kind of again like separating those two worlds. They felt very different, obviously. But it was a very like again like I don't know what I was expecting, but I guess I was very pleased with how just it felt like you were watching. It really felt like you were at like a local theater watching like people put this on, kind of a thing. Like it felt like a community production in a good. I mean, in a good way, kind of thing. It was very well acted, everything like that, and community theater is great and all of that kind of stuff. But no, just it felt like it was like, you know, it felt like very much like a play almost, just kind of the way that things were done, and that was very, I thought that was very well done, very great. But let's see here, we got wait, John Bernthal. We got John Bernthal in the chat here.
Wow.
Let me tell you something. Okay, John.
The actual.
Is this Mr. Bernthal? Are you? I guess welcome to our chat and everything. We've had famous people in the chat before. We've had let's see, we've had George Lucas joins the chat every now and he comes in here and he fights with Jim Henson. It's a little awkward, honestly. We've had those two in the chat. We've had the Ice Age baby in the chat before, and so listen, John, very nice to see you with us tonight, and so thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoy or have enjoyed the conversation. But what do you want to tell us? Do you want to tell us something, John, about Barbie? Hopefully, listen, we're not going to wait for that anyway. But so let's talk about, okay, and I just got the notification. I heard someone drop in the back, but as he comes in here, I want to talk about, I think we should maybe talk a little bit about the music of Barbie. And to do that, I think we're going to need to bring in my lovely co-host, Scotty J-Ro. Here we go. Here's Scotty. Welcome, buddy. Let's talk about Barbie music.
I want to push you around. Well, I will. Well, I will. I want to push you down. Well, I will. Well, I will. I want to take you for granted. I want to take you for granted. Yeah, well, I will. That was the best part.
I was cackling.
Fucking movie.
That was amazing.
That part where they pull the camera out and they're on the beach and it's just him and I'm like, okay, this is funny. Then they pull it out more and it's all like 25 of them.
I was hyena laughing. I was hyena cackling that entire scene.
Scott, have you done that before?
Oh yeah, dude. Of course I have. That's what all. Okay, when you're in high school and you're trying to get some ass, y'all gotta try doing that at least once. And so here I am, and I'm like serenading, and I'm like, literally, I saw 16-year-old me, John Shaw, and I was like, damn it, like I was this dude. Now I didn't play Push, but I was thinking it'd be a Wonderwall, or it'd be like a Jason Mraz song, or like something kind of like on the edge. But
Wonderwall for sure.
I gotta know if that was Greta Gerwig. I gotta know who's like that was phenomenal. That choice of
100%, it was Greta Gerwig because I always think about that song and how creepy and weird that song is.
It's awful
because it was so popular, and I was like, that song is freaking creepy and weird.
It
telling
sounds
you.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of moments like that where you could tell that that specific thing had happened to her. Like the whole, I don't know how to select something on Photoshop.
Oh,
They're like,
yeah.
oh, sweetie,
That
you have
whole
to have the layer
scene-
selected to use the lasso tool.
No, the whole
It's like somebody said that to her for sure.
Oh my god, the whole scene where it was nothing but the men like just being toxic men or just being mansplaining men, like that whole aspect and that whole scene honestly had me rolling in laughter because unfortunately, and I maybe not you, John, maybe not you, Jerry, but I saw a lot of myself. Like I made Katie sit down and watch The Godfather one time, like during COVID, and she
I've done that before.
she had no interest in it. You can ask her. I'm like, we'll cook pasta, we'll do homemade pasta, we'll do a whole night, and she had no fucking interest, like none at all.
The Godfather.
None. And then the part where they it was the Photoshop was hilarious. It was that one. It was the Godfather scene, and there was another really good one too. Oh shit! It was the Zack Snyder comment.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Zack
Oh
Snyder
my god! So
Off
I'm
the
sitting
wall.
there, and like, I've been listening to the podcast. I'm so sorry I'm late. I am never late. We had back to school night at my school.
This was me last week. Remember, I came in at the end.
Oh,
last week,
yeah,
coming in
you're
at
right.
The end this week, and it's just
Poetry, it rhymes.
Now we're gonna be back on the trains. Are gonna be running on time at this.
That's right.
Next week,
That's
guys,
right.
I think. So
Megan, John,
which
I'm
isn't
so glad to
always
see you
great.
here. Joe, my
Thanks for having us.
internet husband. You're enough for me. No, but I this movie was just stellar. I cried, and I even put on a Facebook, and I had a lot of people come up to me. They're like, "That was kind of rude what you said," but I wrote in my Facebook post this: if you don't understand this movie, you are an idiot. Like you are. Because you are, and like, let's be real. I'm gonna be so transparent here. Like, there was a girl that Katie knew from high school that like put a whole thing on like on a story on Instagram that was like, it was just so random. It like made no sense. I'm like, you obviously went into this movie like completely like they left halfway because it was just super random and it wasn't like a normal movie. I'm like, yeah, I don't think people get like movies, unless they've only seen like really terrible rom-coms or something,
to
like
hold you by the hand and
It's probably more just that she is a pick-me girl. Like, I hate to say it,
Yep.
but like there's so many men on my Facebook right now who are like, I will never see the Barbie movie. That is stupid. And I keep commenting under their thing like, this is someone who really needs it.
that's the truth though, Megan, and you're right, because I went into this movie, I knew there was going to be probably some serious undertones in some capacity, but it was the most subversion of my expectation I ever had from a movie of this caliber, right? Like y'all said, I listened to the whole stream on my way home. The marketing was great. The just the whole use of the Barbie brand was amazing within itself. And then you finally sit down and see this movie, and it like tears everything down. That's like they even address the things that are wrong with the Barbie doll itself. Like what viewpoints it gives negatively, but also what viewpoints it gives positively. And like I was all about deconstruction, but the one scene that like just whipped and like hit me just so hard was when she looks at the older lady and she says, "You're beautiful," and she says, "I know," and I'm like I've seen women in my life have those same exact conversations, and I'm like, that was just so profound because for some reason in Hollywood and in modern day society, the second a woman gets over the age of 50, it's like, oh, now you're an old lady. And you serve no purpose. And like to see that scene play out, like, yeah, there's still a person underneath the skin, like no matter what age they are, they could be a teenager, they could be old.
I saw that. I've seen it twice, and
Yeah.
both times that scene made me cry so hard. And
Oh,
like,
me too.
part of it, you're right, is that it is like, as a woman, you're not supposed to age like ever.
Nope.
Like you're supposed to, and like it was just like the perfect moment of like what it means to be a human being. Like her looking at the trees and staring at, even thinking about it actually makes me want to cry. But just like her sense of humanity, we were looking at somebody with a deep sense of humanity.
Yes.
And it just, I don't know. It's like not even something you could put into words. It was just a fantastic moment. Yeah.
It was, and in terms of like
spiritual
having to be a movie that was going up against another really big kind of cult director, Christopher Nolan. I mean, he's got fleets of fans that, will go about their way and see a Christopher Nolan movie in theaters. The fact that it did better than it is like, let's be real, that speaks volumes in terms of what people need to see versus what people are seeing currently. And like, I saw Oppenheimer. It's amazing. I mean, it's an entirely different movie, but they both pose the question of like, the harshness of reality, like the harshness of war versus the harshness of being a woman or being a man in today's society. And like, I didn't do a double feature. I think Jerry, you did. Did you do the Barbenheimer?
I did. Yes. I chastised myself.
So which one did you see first? Which one was like?
I did the whole. So I started in Oppenheimer, right? Okay. And what's funny is the people who were sitting directly next to me they come into Barbie and are sitting in the exact same seats right next to me. And I was like, hey, what's up, neighbors? And first they were like, because we had just watched the 3 hours of existential dread that is Oppenheimer. And again, it is phenomenal. But
it's amazing.
You
don't leave that movie.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. But I said, "Hey neighbors," and they were like, "What?" Because like they didn't realize I was in there because again, we were worried about nuclear war. We're in that and coming in there for Barbie and everything. By the time we left Barbie, they were like, "Well, hey, we're going to we're going to Insidious, the Red Door. You coming?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good, guys. Y'all go ahead. I'm tapped out. But it was like just like that was like such a it was like a. That's like it kind of like is a good analogy for those movies and everything though too. You get like the stunned silence of I didn't know you were fucking in there, man. to after Barbie, like, hey, well, let's go have a party. Let's kind of a thing. No, yeah. Anyway, I don't recommend that for your health at all.
Joe, what about you? Did you do Barbenheimer or no? Did you just do Barbenheimer?
No, I'm gonna wait to watch Oppenheimer until I can do it in my own home where I could lay down and I have access to a bathroom and a pause button.
I'm telling you, and it's worth it because
I never pee in a film. I had to pee in this one.
And
everyone loves to hear that. Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
I had to pee in Rise of Skywalker, and I missed or was it Rise of Skywalker with the Kylo shirtless scene?
No, that was Last Jedi.
That was Last Jedi. I had to pee. And
Worst
I missed
time.
That part.
Worst time.
And I got back, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, Kylo was shirtless!" And I was like, because I was so mad because it was the midnight premiere, and I don't remember if I was with you. I don't think I knew you at that point.
No, I didn't know you at that point. No,
but I was like holding it. I was like, okay, this seems like a slow spot, and I like sprinted, and of course. I missed that. But honestly, I was just thinking what you said, and I know Barbie's like a fantastic movie, and I'm sure Oppenheimer is really great as well. But I think like truly one of the biggest reasons that it's doing so much better, and Megan and I were just talking about this actually, is there's always a cultural shift of what people are watching depending on how the world is, and people want funny stuff right now, and people want to laugh and to feel good, to feel because if you notice, like anytime the world is in a bad place, it's always in a bad place, but anytime significantly
more of a bad place,
people are shifting, movies turn funnier. Like if you think right after 9/11, all these like Adam Sandler goofy rom-com slapstick movies came out, and then like the 2010s 2015 when everyone kind of felt like, hey, things are doing better, and we're having all this improvement in society, and then that's when like everything that was happy and funny shifted dark, like Dark Knight and all these super dark superhero movies. And now like we're having that shift again where the world is
post-COVID
in a bad spot.
There's been a lot more happy endings recently than like especially like with I don't know if everyone here's seen Indiana Jones and everything, but
not yet.
That ended up again
beautiful
all happy endings, all happy beautiful.
I thought it was so good. I thought that movie was so good.
So another thing too, funny enough, you bring that up, John. There's always like a paradigm shift too in terms of like when things release, what comes later. Like one of the best examples, with Barbie being one of them. Like I have never seen a theater since pre-COVID, probably since Rise of Skywalker or Avengers Endgame, be this packed every weekend. I've been
Everyone
3
dressed
weekends
up.
in a row. Everyone dressed up. It's a film event. You know what's funny? The last time I saw this that was like culturally big was when Stranger Things came out. And like 80s culture came out as a huge thing in 2016. The Weeknd's Starboy album sounded like an 80s album. Like there was this really weird cultural just push then. And this to me is that next step. Like this is why the DGA, no, it's not the I'm sorry, the WGA and SAG, like this is what they're fighting for. If you want quality like Barbie, you're fighting for this. Like this whole thing, when people are like, oh, these Hollywood, creatives, they're just trying to pull, and just waste money or, whatever. Like people don't realize how important that aspect of entertainment industry is, because it's not affecting the right now. But in 6 months, when you're sitting there waiting for the next Stranger Things,
You're gonna feel it.
When you're waiting for the next Barbie, you feel that shit, and that becomes real life. And let's just say, hypothetically speaking, COVID happens again. I don't think it will, but let's say it does. All the entertainment you protested that you don't have anymore, on you, or the companies themselves need to get their shit together. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that.
Pay your goddamn writers and actors. Pay them.
But this movie's a testament to how important writing is, and how even things that are subtextual and things that maybe are triggering for some people still bring in conversations like this. Like this is not really a normal Bombadcast topic, but we all felt very compelled to have these discussions. I wanted to have a woman come in and talk about their opinions on this movie too, because it's necessary. We need to have that opportunity. And I think I don't know. I think it's one of the few movies as of recently, honestly, since COVID, that have like made waves as beautiful as this has. So I'm very passionate about this movie.
I think also it really speaks to like the fact that a lot of men are actually curious about women's stories and they don't know how to step into them, right? Because like you think women's stories, or like like people keep going like Barbie. When Barbie first was being advertised, they were like, oh, it's going to be a feminist movie, and I was super confused because I was like, it hasn't been introduced in that way at all. So like I didn't know the plot and I hadn't seen the movie, and so I was like, why is it a feminist movie? None of these people have seen it yet. It's not even out. Is it just because a woman directed it? I think that a lot of men are really curious about women's stories, and we've seen what I'm sure Oppenheimer's great. I'm probably going to watch it in theaters, but I've seen the story. I've seen it like a dozen times, and I do like war stories. I like all of that. It's well made, but I'm not necessarily super interested in watching the movie for the story. I'm more watching it for, Cillian Murphy, because his face just looks like it was molded by some weird Play-Doh. And I'm curious about it. And so like I think like it really speaks to that like the pendulum has been swinging for quite a while. We're post Me Too movement, we went through COVID where women were shaving their heads and screaming on TikTok about their boyfriends, and then like and then all these guys were like, what do I do? What do I what do I do? And so I kind of felt like the Barbie movie was so beautifully done, because it took all of that pain and frustration and even arguments that I have, with guy friends, or even, my close partner, about these things, and put it in such a beautiful, palatable way that men could watch and enjoy and dress up to and play the Ken song 50 million times. And now John playing the Dua Lipa song every time we drive in the car.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think
part of it.
I think the whole Barbenheimer thing originally started off as like a poking at the seriousness versus the unseriousness, and how like we as a society, and like the younger generation especially, is super like everything is very unserious now.
Mhm.
Because that's the way that kids nowadays have to deal with the craziness of the world, is like, you know, in social media and all these terrible things that they have going on all the time. It's just so much easier for things to be very unserious and to kind of like not be as, you know, and it's like the reason why Instagram, you know, posts now are like, for kids, are just like photo dumps where it's like one
Yeah.
emoji and then like 15 terrible pictures instead
Yeah.
of like a
Yeah,
highly
that's what my
posed
kids do.
thing. Yeah, exactly. And it's like that's the same. And it's funny that Barbie ended up being very serious, but also extremely unserious.
Mhm.
And I think that that's what was so funny about the Barbenheimer thing. It's like, you know, it's, you know, what would win, the Christopher Nolan masterpiece versus one Barbie boy? You know, that meme
Yeah.
that people always do.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, and it's just funny that it ended up being like a kind of super serious and important movie in the end. Because like when it was first advertised, people didn't know
No.
what it was going to be about, and it was just
Yeah.
like, you know, oh, the brutal story retelling of the guy who helped foster the atomic bombs and all of the guilt and everything he dealt with versus Barbie. You know, it's like a
Yeah,
Miss
yeah.
Barbie. And
But
so
you leave that theater after Barbie, and you're like, man, I don't know if Nolan or Oppenheimer could ever make me feel the way I felt after leaving Barbie. You know?
yeah, and I think that's what makes the whole Barbenheimer so funny. You know, and that's what I think. I think it became obviously such a big thing, but I think that that's just how it started, is like the serious versus the not serious.
Yeah.
You know,
We're gonna look
I
back
think
on it too.
also-
We're gonna look back on it.
Yeah. I think it's also like that feeling of like there's nothing that like you leave and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how another movie could make me feel that way. That comes from seeing a new story that you haven't
Exactly.
seen before.
Exactly.
You know? And like, I don't know. I saw Tenet and I was like, what are you doing? And, and I love The Dark Knight. Okay. I love it. Okay. Probably on my top, but you know, I don't really expect anything super spectacular from Oppenheimer, not because of the subject matter. I don't expect a masterpiece. I don't really expect anything other than a really well-made film. And part of that is that he really hasn't dealt with the adversity that makes you grow creatively.
Yeah.
That like another filmmaker has had to deal with, that is not Christopher Nolan, you know? And so their marketing budget, the most they did is they took the TikTok film guy and like had him walk around with Christopher Nolan for a while. And that was like their
Literally.
marketing, you know?
Literally.
So
Yeah.
I think this just shows how much we want new stories from other filmmakers, you know, who are just being honest. And I think Greta Gerwig was just feeling pretty honest at that point, you know?
Whew. Megan, that's beautifully said, because I hadn't considered the fact that it's a deeply new story. And like you mentioned the heroine's journey and everything. Like yes, I agree with all that, but at the same exact time, we have never had the opportunity to grow in a way that was so unexpected. Like I really went in thinking it was going to be a silly movie with the opening 2001: A Space Odyssey rip. I'm like this, but weirdly enough, that does parallel the impact of the movie. You know, 2001 is my favorite movie of all time, and it's all about the advancement of technology. But this movie is about the advancement of what it means to be a woman in film and how to be how to, not even how to be successful, but like how to tell a compelling story through the lens of something that is a toy, you know, as a Barbie doll. Like I know it's silly, but like it's ultimately what the movie does so well. I mean, I had no idea I'd leave crying, you know? And it was all practical for those that don't know. That movie was like, I'm pretty sure it was like 98% real sets, all
Yeah, we were
production
talking about
design.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I was like
a little bit.
oh my God. I'm sitting there from a filmmaking point of view. And, you know, funny enough, I was just with John and Megan, and they were working on a little short film project that we shot in a hotel. But I was watching them dress this set for this project. And I'm like, you can do so much in ways I never realized you could do. And then I see this movie like a week later. I'm like, oh my God, like this is all sets. Like this isn't just like, you know, we'll do it in post or we'll fix it this or we'll do that. Like you know, the only part that was like kind of CG was the little animation that they put around their little feet when they would land or when the car would stop, like
the little stars.
But
and
that's
stuff
like
that.
hand drawn animation. That wasn't like a preset on After Effects. But oh my god, oh, I love.
It might be
I
now.
love this movie.
I mean, after
it
this
might be
movie,
now.
that's gonna be something now. But
I agree. Joe, I haven't actually had a chance to talk to you directly.
Hi.
I'm surprised that he was able to keep himself from
I know.
hounding Joe right away.
So John and Megan might not know, but Joe and I are like have a very long, like a strange love affair for like 2
Long
years
and
now.
intimate relationship.
Long and intimate, and I just want to. If I had to kiss any man, it would be
had to, got to.
Listen, if he got to, it would be Joe. If he had to, it would be me.
It would be Jerry.
That's it. Yeah, that's what we'll say.
No, but in all seriousness, Joe, we had months ago talked about this. Did it live up to your expectations? Like fully? Was it everything you wanted, or was there some things left to be had? What do you think?
I touched on this earlier, but I think it actually exceeded my expectations because I went into it thinking, well, I think I knew sort of when we got the extended full trailer when Barbie said, do you guys ever think about death?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, okay, maybe it is going to be like sort of, very good for adults, whatever. But I went into it sort of thinking it's mostly going to be a comedy, but I came out like, wow, that was such a powerful movie. It had so many important messages. And it was so, like they were talking about earlier, it was so different than any movie I think I had ever seen before.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful with all the practical sets. And it was just like, I want to see it again because there was so much to take in. I feel like I can't take it all in one sitting.
No, I agree. And honestly, like, I'm all about buying something when it comes to Blu-ray or it comes on, home video or whatever. This is one of the I bought the Mario Bros movie when it came out because it just meant a lot to me. But like, look, I'm gonna be real with y'all. This movie is like before it even comes to Blu-ray. It's when it goes to like digital first. I'm gonna probably buy this movie twice
immediately.
Yeah, immediately. And like, I'm not.
That's the true mark. That's the true mark of a movie you love is you buy it twice
digitally.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my god! Like, it's funny. Like I said, I loved Oppenheimer. I thought it was a fantastic movie. I don't plan on ever buying it. I can't wait till it comes out on some service and I'll watch it again. But I mean, this movie. I mean, Barbie was just. I don't know. It's stellar, and I'm sorry I missed the full conversation between everyone, and we're gonna wrap soon. But I was there anything else anyone wanted to bring up about the movie? Anything in particular?
Actually, I have something funny.
Okay.
That whole Godfather conversation, I had it on set 2 days before seeing the movie.
No way.
I was on set and I've had this conversation so many times about Taxi Driver where I've been like, oh, I've seen Taxi Driver now, so don't even say anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was on set with these grips. And so like grips are like the guys who like carry around, put up lights and stuff. And so we're there and someone says, oh, like, it's like The Godfather. And I went, oh, I've never seen The Godfather. And then they went on for like 20 minutes about how I should see The Godfather. And it got to the point where I was like, we are wasting time. And I had to yell at everybody. I was like, okay, you guys have 2 minutes to get your act together. I was like, 2 minutes to like the DP and the gaffer, everybody. And like all these men were like, like running. And then when we were watching the movie, I was like dying because I was
God.
Just had this conversation.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing though?
And I love that she calls it The Godfather. Like she says it like that. And he's like, you mean The Godfather? Just so nuanced humor. She's like, oh, are you guys watching The Godfather?
Godfather? That's so amazing. No, some of the other funnier bits too. What was it? It was the Alan stuff. That was amazing.
God,
Alan won my
loved
heart.
Alan.
You know what else? I made a comment earlier in here. I wonder if it's still on here. I made a comment about the cock ring Barbie. Do y'all know about that? Does anyone? Okay,
I pulled it up for a second on the screen, but yeah.
Okay, so
earring magic Ken and
okay, listen to this.
Yeah,
this is awesome. Oh, Joe, no, Joe, you go.
I thought you were pulling up a video. I was like,
no.
I'm ready to watch.
It's amazing.
No,
it's
so
amazing.
In the 90s, there
Just
was
like Barbie cock ring, you say?
Yeah. So there was an earring magic Barbie, and she had an earring magic Ken. And in the 90s, I think there was just like a trend of queer and gay men just wearing a cock ring around their neck. And Ken happened to be wearing an earring around his neck, and it looked exactly like. And he was also wearing a purple mesh shirt and a purple leather, I think, vest. So it was just very queer coded all around. And
so
he was in the movie with the weird Barbie.
So with the part where they go to Weird Barbie, so Katie explained to me this way too, is that they sent Mattel execs like out to clubs in the late the late 80s, early 90s, like, well, just see what the guys are wearing, we'll make that into a doll. And all these these gay men had cock rings around their neck because they after the clubs they would get down and fuck. And literally, I'm not joking, like I looked up, I'm like I can't even believe this. And I'll pull a picture of cock ring Barbie. Hold on. It's just incredible. And there was another one too. Oh, the breast inflating Barbie as well.
Yeah,
from the 60s.
Midge
no,
or whatever.
It was a Skipper.
Oh, Skipper.
Growing up Skipper, I think.
Growing up Skipper. Now
you would turn her arm and she would grow taller and grow breasts.
Oh my god, it's wild. What was the other Barbie that was with cock ring Barbie?
Oh, Ken, Sugar Daddy Ken, which was also a real Ken.
What does that mean?
He had a dog named Sugar, and that was his. He was Sugar's.
He was daddy. Sugar's daddy.
Sugar Daddy Ken. No, here's a picture of cock ring Ken. This is real. They're expensive. I thought about buying one. This is a joke. They're $500 in box.
Yeah, I mean the frosted tips, the earring, the mesh shirt.
I was gonna say
lavender vest. Come on, Bestie.
This looks like Protozoa from Xenon Girl of the 21st Century.
Look at this.
Such a niche reference.
Dude, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at the giant ring around his neck. Incredible.
That's so funny.
And then
I realized the meshness of the shirt. Like I couldn't quite perceive it until it went to that side shot.
Wait, I wonder. Let me see if I can share my screen. This is actually really, really funny. Thank God it had this on.
Shirt on.
No, even better. I looked up. This is what I looked up. I looked up cock ring Barbie, and it says save search blurring is on. I'm just glad.
Thank God.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this is a family show. God damn
Look
it.
at this.
Don't scroll down. Don't scroll down. Don't scroll down.
What are you doing?
Do not scroll down.
Save search is only so strong.
Yeah,
what else do I want to show you? Cock ring Barbie. What was the other thing? I think that
Sugar Daddy Ken.
Oh, Sugar Daddy Ken. Incredible. Oh my God. Is this real?
I think it was probably a collector thing.
That's
adults. I would assume.
From my understanding, every one of them that they had on there, all the weird ones were real. Like you had the one with the TV in her back and everything like that.
The video camera. It was like in her stomach or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I mean. And my sister had a lot of the Barbies growing up. I don't know if she had any of the weird gimmick. She definitely didn't have cock ring Ken, I'll say.
I want that one. That's phenomenal.
But that's insane.
Hold on, I got a picture. Of Sugar Daddy Ken. Sugar Daddy Ken.
The level of detail into all of this was incredible. The research that went into everything.
Will it load? Will it open? There it is. Oh my God!
Did you just make this?
No, I found this on Google. I did not.
This is like it is like formatted perfectly to YouTube.
It's very high aesthetic.
Very Bombadcast.
That is honestly, it looks like
Bombadcast.
Something that we made. It looks
that
like
is so funny.
Like one of ours.
Oh God, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, we'll get back to sir. We'll get back to. We'll get back to it. All right.
Talk. No, it's weird. So I think I'll touch on it earlier. Is it? Well, I think it's worthy of a sequel, but does it need a sequel? I don't think so.
No. I don't think it should have a sequel. I think, honestly, it's a masterpiece. It is a masterclass in filmmaking and writing. And I think when you have something that good, you almost need to protect it from a sequel, you know, because it does have a very clear ending. You know, you do feel satisfied, and I think it'd be good to just feel satisfied by something.
Yep.
And
Also,
I
completely agree.
John is an Alan. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I loved Alan's character because I felt like he wasn't necessarily a feminist character or a protector or any of these characters. He just was kind of a guy who was there, and he wasn't a kin, and he did help the women, and he was like, you know, but at the end of the day, he was just like a regular guy, and they didn't give him anything special. He wasn't more attractive. He's just a guy. But honestly,
You just made me think of something. But that's all we want. Like as women, we just want Allens.
And
We're
I
just
think
gonna
that
stand
was
next to us and
I
just
think that's what they
be
were
there.
trying to say is like all of the kins were competing with each other to try and like out machismo each other, and that's why like the movie wasn't necessarily wasn't at all anti-man. It was anti-patriarchy. And it was showing how deeply the patriarchy like affects men to their core, and how like, you know, it's so ingrained in men to like, if you're not constantly performing this thing, you have to beat yourself up and hide your emotions and all of these things if you're just not constantly this thing, you know. And it shows like how they all fall apart very, very quickly trying to like uphold this thing, you know.
Yeah. And this is the funny thing too about Alan, and this is also kind of weird to his character. I guess it honestly plays into what you were just saying, John. He was originally there, and it says right here, he's Kin's buddy. All of Kin's clothes fit him. So it's not like, I mean, it's so weird if you get into the real nuance of it. His whole aspect as a toy was just to be, you know, an accessory to Kin rather than anything else, which is very strange.
Was I right that the girls at the lunch table were supposed to be the Bratz dolls?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, they had the same names as the
Her name was
Bratz
like
dolls.
Sasha, and they were all.
yeah.
There was like the blonde girl, they all had all the different like ethnicities and the same names and the hairstyles and everything.
No way.
And they were being like kind of like brats to her, which was interesting.
Oh, well, because it makes sense because Mattel does also.
Well,
that's
because
insane.
Mattel got in trouble in the early 2000s because Bratz came on the scene and it was grabbing such a large share of the doll consumers, and so Mattel came up with, because I think Bratz is MGA.
Okay.
And so Mattel came up with a type of version of Barbie, and she looked a lot more like the Bratz. I think they were called Mycene Barbies. I watched a lot of videos about this movie, and they had a whole big like lawsuit, and it was a whole thing. So I think that kind of alluded maybe to that fight between Mattel and MGA.
It's funny that I caught that.
Trying to get this pulled up. Yeah, I mean literally because the Bratz dolls. It was
forgot their names. I just remember the commercials on Nick when I was a kid.
Let me see. I'm trying to get an image saved right now from
Sasha, Chloe, Jade, and something else.
Look, here we go. Here's a better one. That is absolutely wild. I'm gonna tell Katie that once we get off stream. Hold on.
Katie's in chat.
Katie's in the chat right now.
Oh no.
She's asking if you're wearing her robe, by the way.
I am. I am wearing her silk. Look, here we go. Watch. There you go. It's like almost literally down to a T.
Yep.
Wow. That's honestly so cool, if I'm going to be real with y'all. That is such a cool little reference. Holy cow. I'm glad to see Katie in the chat.
Hi, Katie.
Wow.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Katie.
No, I'm very thankful that I have like-minded people in my life, like y'all and other family members and friends that really got a lot out of this movie, because I was so genuinely afraid when I got the theater that it would be nothing but just like Last Jedi level of discourse. Like
an endless slog.
Just awfulness. And of course there's like Ben Shapiro and a bunch of other dumbasses that are like, you know, but I'm like,
honestly, kind of.
I heard someone say that they watched it with Ben Shapiro and he was chuckling and laughing the whole, like he was like,
I'm sure he
enjoying the
was.
movie.
Yeah, of course he
the
was.
whole time.
And
It's a
like-
goddamn
honestly,
good movie.
It just helps the movie, literally. That's all it
Yes.
does. Because people don't take him serious. I mean, some people take like a lot of, you know, podcasters and people seriously, but like the more discourse the movie has, the more people go and see it, you know,
Mhm.
at the end of the day.
Everything that was coming out was like, you know, the Christian leagues and everything, like saying like this is very LGBTQ friendly and all this and it's like, all right, I'm going again, man.
Yeah.
This
And
is
all
great,
and all
you
these
know?
like people who are saying these things just didn't watch the movie. I would understand if you watch it and then you have something to say, but like all these people didn't watch it and see that it wasn't any of these things. It was just a very positive movie about like with a happy ending that gave a really good message to men and women.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know.
Well, also it's like that level of misogyny is just like pure camp, you know? It's just so funny to me. I think that's why a lot of women love like a Drew Offalo on TikTok or whatever, because like she's mean, but like at the end of the day, it's like she's roasting men because they're pure camp. Like the toxic masculinity of like, I can't watch a Barbie movie. What?
Yeah.
It's like no one's asking you to. Are you okay? You know? So yeah, I'm enjoying it actually. I'm kind of loving
It's-
all the guys on my feed.
I'm telling you, you know,
It's great.
and I said it earlier, and I'll repeat it one more time, but like this will be a documented moment in film history that will be, you know, everyone's like, we're living through, you know, this is crazy. This is like this. We're living through like film history. We're living through like the biggest this of all time, and then it's the one that you never expected. It's this movie that's just like, just so wonderfully impactful. And like, I mean, I'm gonna just right now try to think of the movie that I saw most before this that was as impactful. Like Indiana Jones has a place in my heart, but like even The Rise of Skywalker, all these movies that I love have a place in my heart, but have not been as impactful as this movie has been, and hopefully will continue to be. So I'm all for what Megan said. I want new stories. Like this proves that new stories will work, or just telling a different perspective of a story that we haven't heard before. You know, yeah.
People want to see themselves on screen, and
Yeah.
just like the more perspectives that we can get on screen, the better. Because I again, yeah, we want more. We want more. We want to see all of these different stories. We want to see people's what they have in their hearts.
Yeah, I think representation, you know, being a woman in the film industry, I talk about representation all the time, actively fighting for it. But at the end of the day, you think about like the fact that when we talk about everybody as an audience, especially in film history, we're really only talking about white men.
You're right.
And like that means that there's only really a
Yeah.
handful of films that like, you know, I grew up and like I was Han Solo and I was Indiana Jones, but like none of those characters look like me. They're all Harrison Ford, even though I wish like I look like Harrison Ford. It's just never gonna happen. And like, you know, I think that as a society, we're getting bored of those stories. And as, you know, misogyny or, you know, toxic, you know, maleness becomes more and more camp and more kind of just entertaining and ridiculous and keeps us from interesting stories. What happens is that we become hungry for our humanity to be shown in film, you know? And so I think Everything Everywhere All at Once very much
Oh.
did that because
Oh,
very
yeah.
much reminded you like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know that a film could make me feel so much. And like Barbie very much does that. There have been a few other films. Parasite did that for a lot of people. And I think it's just that all of us, we just want new stories. We want to be shown in other ways, and the audience is expanding, you know? So I think representation is important. I think Greta Gerwig did a fantastic job. Part of it is that she has money behind her. She has a 20-year career behind her. You know, she's with Noah Baumbach and she's fully protected by the film industry for that reason. And so she had a lot of privilege, ironically, going in, even being a woman, she was very much protected. And she chose in a very smart way a product to start with. You know, a product and a story that was palatable to everyone from the get-go. You know, so I don't want another Barbie movie, but I do want to see more stories kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
Beautifully stated. I agree.
Absolutely.
And more women in Star Wars.
And I think sadly there is going to be a sequel. I just know it because it made so much money that they're going to, even if it's not Greta Gerwig, I think that they're going to make a sequel. I hope they don't, but I just have a feeling that they're going to.
Ken. Let's be Ken to the Barbie.
Yeah.
No, I can't thank all of you enough for being on this stream and wanting to discuss this. And yeah, I guess we can get some plugs in before we leave. Joseph, where can people find you, Joseph?
I have nothing to plug. All my socials are Joe Organa, and I stream on Twitch. So follow me there.
Stop it. You say that I've got nothing to plug. You'd plug me in a heartbeat, number one. Number two, hold on here. I gotta get your QR code pulled up because I'm
No, don't do that. Please.
No,
Please.
I am. Let me get the QR code pulled up. You're still making content, right? Don't act like you aren't.
I haven't been. No, I have not.
Well, maybe this will elevate you. Scan it. Someone scan it.
Hold on.
Someone will scan it and they'll go, oh, let me see if I can do it real quick. Joe, it makes you money. We've got to get you to do it.
There we go. There we go.
It's his OnlyFans. It's his OnlyFans. So just for those that don't know, it's a good follow. I'm not going to say anything. It's a good follow. Anyway, I love you, Joe. What about you, Jonathan Shaw?
I literally have nothing to plug. I just I do my job, computer. And then I do more computer, and then sometimes I Star War.
That's true. You do Star War.
Sometimes I movie. What's up?
You just directed a film. You just directed 2 films. You could plug both Blacklight and Stormforge Studio.
Please do.
Yeah, Blacklight. Megan knows what our Instagram thing is, but we're doing like a cool neo-noir vampire movie that's featuring like entirely people of color cast and hopefully going to put a interesting new spin on vampire stories. And Megan can tell you more about that.
Megan.
Yeah,
she's got more to plug.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of things. Yeah, we just directed a film called Blacklight that we're putting more on social media. You can find it on Instagram at Blacklight World. And it's a film about a vampire hunter and a vampire becoming unlikely best friends. And our proof of concept has this old weird Star Wars car with black lights, and I'm setting somebody on fire, and it's just really cool. We created a pair of anguish. Awesome. It's insane, and I would check it out. And John directed it, and then me and my sister wrote it together so I could act in it. So it's pretty cool. And then he also directed The Wayfarer, not to plug him, but he directed The Wayfarer, which you could find at Stormforge Studios on Instagram and stormforgestudios.com.
There you go. It's right there.
Absolutely. Check it out, guys. Seriously, go check this stuff out. I'm honestly, I'm very excited to check out. Was it Black? What was the name of the vampire film again? Real quick.
Blacklight. Yeah. And
Scott just worked on it. I DP'd in a hotel room, and Scott was there, and he was like, "What do you need?" And I was like, "I need the light moved."
And I will
Way to
also
go.
plug for Megan.
Proud of
She
you.
has her own podcast called she has a film collective called Foxy Film Collective. That's a collective of women who are working to bring more women into the film industry and talk more about like being a woman in the film industry. And they're just getting started. So check them out.
I've got the link actually. Give me 1 second. The link's right here.
And
Podcasting
Scotty, you
is
weren't.
hard.
It's podcasting. This. Why do you think we do it like this now? Like we used to podcast, and then now we just get on here and bullshit for an hour or two.
Earlier, we filmed for a full hour, and we were
Yeah.
using Descript, and it deleted the hour that we filmed.
Oh my god!
See?
Yeah.
Oh,
And so we just sat there and we restarted let's talk about Blacklight and the Barbie. We were just
I'm telling you, we had that happen maybe twice so far. We just going live. It won't go away. You might say some things you regret, but it's not going away. Follow the Foxy Film Collective right there. I got to pull it up.
Follow it. Follow
Yeah,
it.
Right now we're producing a whole film that is like a Rococo fantasy world that is like a group of treasure hunters, and they're going for the search for the Philosopher's Stone. We've produced a monster movie where my co-director Baven plays like this woman who's just got married and is slowly turning into a werewolf, and she's going to kill her husband. And we've been helping produce Blacklight. We're basically just knocking out movies left and right and trying to get more women on set and create more fun, weird stories. The last project I did, I had kittens on set and I brought cake. So it's a fun time.
Hell yeah. You can listen. I'm fucking sold. Like,
I'm
that's
a great
incredible.
producer. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about Star Wars. Bring me on to talk about.
I was gonna say.
I know there's a good opportunity for it soon.
Listen,
because with Ahsoka coming out,
y'all gonna see Megan again. Okay?
So with Bombadcast, and I'll play the clip one more time. I'm sure Jerry played it earlier, but we are here to obviously support the WGA and SAG. So I'm gonna get this rolling.
This stream is live during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, the content being covered here wouldn't exist. Stay Bombad.
So we're looking to do some Ahsoka coverage, but we're probably going to wait till after this whole season airs and do a little bit of a delay coverage because we want to make sure we honor what people are fighting for in Hollywood right now. And Joe, you lost the hair. I love it.
It was.
I bet.
So good.
The blood was not going to my brain anymore. I felt the cells dying. I had to. I'm so sorry.
No, by all means,
we'll allow it. It's fine.
But Megan, you will definitely have many opportunities to come back on.
You have to bring my business partner on, Baven Victoria, because she looks like Ahsoka. First off,
100%.
She's a stunt coordinator, professional dancer, professional actress, a professional singer. She's fantastic, and she is the biggest Star Wars fan. Like the biggest. Like all we talk about is Star Wars.
We're booking our show out now. Yeah.
I saw Baven on the Instagram page. Hold on, it's loading right now. I literally, as you were talking about her, or talking about the collective earlier, I was looking at her. I'm like, my God, like she could totally fit in a Star Wars. Just like,
oh yeah.
Hold on, let's see. Here we go. I have a little clip right here. Don't know if there'll be any audio, but I mean, like, tell me this isn't like the perfect face for Star Wars. Perfect. Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh wow, yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Oh my God.
She yeah. Sitting next to her getting coffee is the weirdest thing because like men will like slow down their cars or like get out of them to try to jump and like talk to her. It's so funny.
She's just unbelievably stunning. I whenever we were in Portland visiting, I'm like, who? This is just like the most beautiful person in the world. Like I don't know. It just a wonderful person. This has become a Baven podcast. Anyway, that being said, I can't appreciate. I'm gladly guaranteed almost.
Absolutely.
But that being said, I can't wait to see everyone again and be able to hang out in person again and give Joe some French kisses and hug John. And how's your car, John? Pretty good? Yeah. Oh, you're muted, John. You're muted for a second. Say it again.
I said it's going good, but
good.
More importantly, how is your car?
It's good. I bought John's car, Joe. Just so that's what I.
There's a lot of subtext.
There's a lot of subtext.
Here. What's going on?
No, but everyone who enjoys the Bombadcast, stay tuned. Obviously, we got some fun things in the works. We're gonna be going back to our traditional kind of weird Bombadcast stuff.
We're gonna be doing in order to support and there's not a lot like out right now anyway. But we're gonna get really weird in support of the WGA SAG-AFTRA strike. Like we do, and so get ready for a lot of weird Bombad content.
Junior.
It's so yes, it's gonna be fantastic. It's so good to be back. It's so good to be back at this. And Scotty kind of came back. We both have kind of come back, but like now that like our Bombad summer vacation was a success.
Yes,
and we are back in the saddles, and it's been some much needed break, but also I'm ready to get back to it and be Bombad with Scotty.
I just realized something, Jerry.
What's that, Scotty?
It's Megan's first time on Bombadcast. Megan, prepare for your baptismal font.
Oh,
here you go.
We have to.
This is your wake-up call. time to reach, go for it all. Folgers stirs inside of me, and I know what I can be. Limit is the sky. Hey world, watch me fly. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Paul
Woo,
Stanley.
welcome.
Oh, wow.
Welcome.
I'm definitely going as him for Halloween now.
Yes,
That is big. Scotty's next door neighbor.
Paul.
His Folgers ad.
That's right.
Was yeah.
That's how you introduce it. That's how
that's how we baptize people. Joe's been through it.
If
John's
it's your
been
first
through
time, if it's your first time, we show you the Paul Stanley Folgers ad.
That's it.
So unnecessarily intense.
So like the way he goes, best part of waking up. It's just like he has had 10 pots of Folgers coffee
He's good.
that shoot.
But you know what else?
Also,
Megan.
do you think again, was he a ghost? I have to ask. I always have to ask. At the end, he disappears. Megan, do you think he is a ghost, or is he magic?
I'd like to think he's magic.
He's the Folgers ghost.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
The
He kind of
Folgers
does this.
ghoul.
He sprinkles the
He was
pixie dust and stuff. Yeah.
That's what he
Oh,
does.
it's beautiful. And Megan,
He's
you
got
do
that
have the
feel.
honor of doing this as well. At the end of every Bombadcast, we remind our audience to stay Bombad. Can we please, by all means, be blessed with the stay Bombad from you?
Stay Bombad.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Chucky. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share.
What is it? Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A soundless disregard, a broken bottle top,
and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer.
If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Oh yeah,
I'm asking him to change his ways.
come on, change. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Oh yeah,
I'm asking him to change his ways.
no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
Time for us to take a break, but we wouldn't dream of being gone for long. See you in a little